All right, welcome back, everybody, to another episode at Spring Into Football, where Raf able to join us first time during the season. Raf, welcome back. You told me you were busy before the episode started, so we're glad you were able to make it today. But additionally, the JT Zone, also the JT Zone, a fellow Instagram page covering all football, whether it's arena, high school, the UFL, college, all really everywhere across the board. We're glad, JT, you can make it here tonight. And then, as always, Diego able to join us as well. And then AJ was unfortunately not able to join us. We wish we had the full crew and a feature because that would have made for some interesting storylines in addition to what we will have prepared tonight. But nonetheless, guys, an interesting week 4. Lots of news stories kind of emerging. We've had yesterday was wild. We did say that there wasn't a game yesterday. So it kind of gave teams to sit down and evaluate and say what's going wrong with our team, what's going well on our team. And some of them had some things to say about that. And we saw trades for the first time in league history, at least for this new league. We've seen trades in the past, but trades being carried out like this. And as obviously because we don't have the traditional draft system, at least implemented for every year, it was player for player. So a little bit different from a ordinary trade you might see in a different football league. So, so I wanted to give everybody just a moment here to give your overall week 4 thoughts. I know a lot happened. Obviously started on Thursday. And we had a game Friday night, and then we had 2 games on Saturday. But yeah, ultimately, I thought it was a pretty good week. If I would start with this, I thought, I thought there was a lot of different things that we could build on. I think the Birmingham game was unfortunate. Both the result and the fans showing out and not getting the result they wanted. But we'll unpack a lot of that. If you guys wanted to go ahead and voice your opinions, I know it's been a good weekend because we've had a couple of weekends like this where a lot of news has come out and some news we don't like to hear, but overall I think it's new. It's some new things, right? And so it definitely should be some exciting football here going into the second half of the season. What do you guys think?
Yeah.
Raf, you got anything?
Yeah, no, I guess you guys put me on the spot. I mean, one thing is, so Columbus gets their first win of the season starting out 0-3. Now, last week, Todd Haley did say, like, I've been in this position before.
Yeah.
We have the crew. And Ted Ginn in his last interview said, I've been sticking with these guys and it's starting to show out. Because Dallas is the best team in the league. There could be an argument against, the Storm, but the Storm have faced off, like, weak opponents. Very, very, very weak opponents. Teams like the Kings aren't really that good. I'll be honest. Kings are not good. And trading away Jason Bean, really just says a lot. Columbus goes up against Arlington in Arlington. Or actually, sorry, at home. No, wait. In Arlington, yeah.
No, in Columbus.
In Columbus.
This past weekend. Yeah.
Yeah, so they're at home and they win. Not even that, they win 28-14 by 2 scores. All sides of the ball showing out, but the ground game, of course, being their biggest thing.
Yeah.
So I think that DC could make a run, but not DC. I think for a team to turn the season around could easily be Columbus. Another one is DC beating St. Louis. Mm-hmm. St. Louis had all chances to win that game, and they could not find a way to win. All chances to win the game, and Birmingham versus the Storm was kind of depressing finish.
It was a shit show, to say the least.
It was, to say the least. That's just to say the least. And then, but that was really all I have for this weekend.
Okay. Diego, JT, did you guys have anything? I know it was both your guys' teams lost, and Raf and I both Aviators fans, so we were on the opposite side of that. But did you guys have anything for this past weekend?
To start off, well, I'm just gonna get my views on the way about the Stallions. Just to put it least, I thought the fans showed up. I thought the crowd was great, but the team, horrible. I'm sure you guys saw the mic'd up moments with AJ McCarron and stuff. you can't be throwing your players under the bus like that and saying, "Oh, you guys got to play better." Like, I don't know, just until I saw the post game interview, he did not take a single dose of accountability. Like just as we talked about last week with the whole hiring coaches without much experience, that's another question as to, was this really a good thing or not? But as for all the other games, I mean, I really like that Louisville Houston overtime game. I thought that was a fun watch. There's still a lot of controversy about that Hoyland miss.
Yeah, there is.
Yeah, about to say, but I mean, it was just the same thing that happened with the Stallions and Breakers. I think in 2022 when Aubrey kicked for the win. But
good memory.
Yeah. But other than that, I mean, it was some good games.
But I was gonna add about the hiring coaches without coaching experience. For some teams, it's starting to pay off. For some teams, it's starting to ruin them. Mm-hmm.
a
team like St. Louis, a team like Birmingham having first time head coaches, it's not playing out too well. But a team like Louisville or a team like Columbus, like now it's starting to really pay off. We're really starting to see it grow right now.
I mean, granted, it's only one win, and they started out winless. But you're right. You're right.
But you beat a team like Arlington.
You're right. Yeah, you're right.
Absolutely.
When you're capable of putting on those performances, I definitely think there's much to look forward to. You're right.
And then since week one, after week one, they've been playing very close games. Columbus, very close games.
Yeah. Yeah. JT, did you have anything?
Yeah, a big takeaway that I took from this week, I think I'm starting to believe in DC. Whenever they opened the season, they lost the Battlehawks, and then they beat Columbus and Houston, right?
Yeah,
two of like the worst teams in the league.
Those were also like cheap wins. Very
So everyone was like, "Oh, DC's not that good." Then they go and then they play St. Louis. They beat them. Granted, St. Louis started to come back, but they still, handle business.
There was that final offensive drive where they ran 3 jet sweeps to, I believe it was a Kelvin Harmon. 3 straight jet sweeps, and they got 0 yards. They they had all chances to lose the game.
Yeah.
So
but I really want to see what they do the rest of the year because they play Birmingham this week. Then they got Dallas, which is I think the biggest game on their schedule. Yeah. They play back-to-back Louisville, which I hope that they get it together to beat them because that should be nothing. And then they finish the year with back-to-back Orlando, which I think will be a big test to see how well this team is. But besides that, I mean, I was happy with the games. Obviously, wasn't happy to see how Birmingham's doing. Literally ranked last in the league is insane for Birmingham, considering they are multi-time champions within spring football. But St. Louis game, obviously sad about the outcome as a St. Louis fan.
Yeah.
Dallas game, I'm excited to see the Columbus Aviators win. I know a couple guys on the Columbus Aviators.
Me too.
Good squad there.
And the Rita squad. I mean,
and the Louisville game versus Houston Cinema. So I thought it was a pretty good week.
My thing is with the Storm. The Storm are 4-0 right now. They're not having tough fought wins. I agree. They're beating up bad teams. Jack Plummer has not played good. I'll be honest. Jack Plummer has not played good. Not played good enough to be in the same conversation as Austin Reed. Because Austin Reed's putting up 300 yards. Jack Plummer is barely scratching 225. I don't think he's played good enough to be on the same level as, But the thing is, my take a couple of weeks ago, I wasn't able to say this one, but DTR would get his time to shine if Jack Plummer doesn't fix the mistakes. Okay, he hasn't fixed the mistakes, but they also haven't lost. So, he's been very careless with the football as I've watched. And they just traded DTR away anyways, so it doesn't even matter,
Yeah. I mean, that's a good lesson. I think we also saw a tweet or Anthony Beck comes out with a statement and says, DTR, he really believed in him, and that's why that was definitely a part of the trade. They wanted to see him have the chance to start somewhere else. Again, nothing against Plummer, right? He's doing fine right now. He's slated as the starter, right? So they deal away DTR and to Diego's team, and Diego, we'll get your thoughts later on about this, but I'm sure you might be having mixed opinions because you just traded. I mean, Matt Corral, you haven't been a fan.
I mean, if I'm being honest, I think his time was long overdue. Like, no disrespect, he's a great athlete, but he's been on this team for almost 3 years now as a starter. So
yeah, how much is this really on Corral? Because I'm be honest, how much of him playing poorly is really on him? Because if you go back and you watch it, he's not really playing awful. It's not. How much is it really on Corral more than first time coaching?
Yeah, that is also what has been the topic of discussion amongst a lot of us in the group chats. I'm sure Diego, a lot of your Birmingham Stallions colleagues are saying the same thing. How much of it is on McCarron and the offensive coaching staff as opposed to the quarterback and potentially some of the other parts of the offense? But okay, we'll go ahead and get into our next topic. So we do something on the show, JT, every week where we pick a quarterback. We've also done different variations of this as well, like where we just graded position groups and as a whole. But
okay,
this week we're going to grade a quarterback individually. So we just attach a letter grade to one of the 8 quarterbacks that started this weekend, and then kind of just provide some analysis along with it. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. Usually I kick it out to someone first, but I'll go ahead and share mine. So I'm going to go ahead and grade. Let's see. I'm going to go ahead and grade Jalen McClendon. I've been familiar with him in the times we've done it. This segment this season, I've graded him as well. Thought he played well. I thought, like Ralph said, the run game really propelled Columbus to victory, and so he wasn't forced to do much. And I think Columbus, that's how they're gonna be dangerous, right? Running the football as much as possible. We saw a record high attempts set with 47 rushes, which is insane. To almost crack half of a century mark in rushes is something that's unheard of in spring football and football in general. So for Columbus to execute that and do it with efficiency and knock off a winless Dallas team, that's impressive. As for McClendon, though, like I said, not forced in really a lot of those tough positions. I'll probably give him like a B-. Again, quarterback play wasn't bad. Raf doesn't seem to agree with my take here. Again, wasn't put in those positions. I thought quarterback play was fine. Again, run game, propelled us and the Aviators to victory. But nothing I can complain to McClendon that would make me say he's not going to be the starter next week. We've had Jalen Morton potentially bouncing around, but I don't think I think he's going to have to wait another week. And McClendon stays penciled in as the starter. So, all right. Did one of you guys want to go here? Roth?
No, I want JT to go next.
Okay,
see who he has.
All right, guys. So, the one, the only Brandon Silvers. If I could rate him. He didn't
play.
Oh, he didn't play last week?
It was Harrison Frost.
Oh, sorry.
Did you even watch the game?
I was out.
This is a bad look.
Look, I was out on a game. I was out doing something else this weekend. So someone else go while I.
All right, Mr. I got Jason Bean. All right, I'm gonna talk about Jason Bean a little bit.
Okay.
17 for 34, 192, 0 touchdowns to 1 interception, with 6 carries for 20 yards on the ground. Okay, you see the stats and you're like, man, I don't see it, but he made pretty good throws. He made a lot of good throws around them over the middle. One inconsistency he's had all year is drops. Rather be Isaiah Winstead, or rather that would be through his tight end. I'm forgetting the tight end's name's blanking right now for me, but drops. He's had a lot of drops in the air and a lot of bad offensive line play. So we're not going to put really much. I give him a B+, to be honest, a B+ because he made a lot of great throws. That one interception to Major Burns was kind of dumb. But other than that, if you take all that, 41, if you take away a lot of the quick takes, a lot of good throws, a lot of high yardage plays, and a lot of dual threat ability. But the bad one has just had to be the interception. That's the interception you don't throw. You don't throw that. I don't know what was going through the thought process, but I give it a B plus, a solid B plus.
B plus, yeah, okay. So I mean, listen, now he's in DC, and I'm sure we'll get your thoughts later on that too.
Not gonna play.
He's not gonna play, but I think could potentially, if he ever does see time in the future, I don't know. That's a much more experienced coaching staff, right? And Shannon Harris, known to be a good quarterback developer. At least Jordan Te'amu came in with a lot of experience, so it'll be interesting to see how he will coach Jason Bean, at least from the sidelines. So, all right, JT, Diego, which one of you guys wants to go next?
Well, I'm looking at, obviously, like I said, I didn't get to watch the Battlehawks game this past weekend, but I'm looking at Harrison Frost stats just last week. He seems okay. I'm not very keen on Brandon Silvers. I think our team for a long time, I think we're generally considered the Dallas Cowboys of the UFL. I think we need someone who can genuinely lead us and take us far. I thought that person was AJ McCarron, but now he's driving down the Stallions into the dirt.
You can take him back.
But I'd give him like a B, maybe a B minus. Okay. I don't think he's anything crazy. I don't think we have a crazy quarterback on our roster. I would like to see us get, someone good, but yeah, he's okay. I like him better than Brandon Silvers. I'd like to see him play this week when we play the Storm. So yeah, I give him a B minus.
Yeah. All right, Diego, let's hear it.
All right. I don't know. I kind of think hard about this one. I was either gonna do either Matt Corral or Jordan Ta'amu, but I think I need a break from thinking about the Stallions. I'm gonna turn to Ta'amu.
Okay.
I mean, I thought he played pretty solid. I mean, I feel like just that game overall, the DC defenders just seemed comfortable, except for that second quarter when St. Louis did look like they were gonna, try to even out the playing field a bit. I mean, I don't think Jordan Ta'amu has really played that bad this season. I mean, here and there he may overthrow it or he may throw an occasional interception. But, I mean, for a guy who's been in spring football for so long, I mean, he really has not looked that bad. I would not be surprised if the defenders end up making the playoffs again. But overall, I mean, I would probably give Jordan Ta'amu a solid B plus.
Okay, yeah. Listen, I think we were rather generous with our quarterback grades this week, and I'm not saying that as as a bad thing at all. I think the coaching is starting to work. I think AJ said on last week's episode that these guys just need more reps, right? It was early on, and now getting another week under their belt kind of allows them to get more reps, and so we're starting to see the coaching and quarterbacking play starting to mesh well together. So it's good to see that another week has allowed some of these guys to flourish a little bit more. So adding on to JT's like grade, it was interesting. Luis Perez was still a name that was flooding around because after we saw the two quarterback trades yesterday, people were saying, could we potentially see Luis Perez to St. Louis? And I think someone in a comment section said that Rick Neuheisel said no. Probably said no. So, I could picture him saying no because he seems to be a good mentor for Austin Reed, who's been very successful here with the Renegades in the short time he's been on the team. So, it's interesting. He is one of those names that still sticks out when you look at potential trade targets. But again, I don't think they're interested because he does still play a pivotal role in that team. So, all right. So we've kind of mentioned it on several occasions already, but a wild Sunday yesterday So Jason Bean traded to DC for Mike DeLello, a DC backup, and this trade had Louisville fans distraught. Okay, this trade, Mike DeLello, I'm sure Ralph can figure out some analysis for him, but there was just no explanation in the early going of when the trade went down, and I don't think Ralph doesn't have anything. There's just
no, and I mean,
yeah, I don't. I mean, it just doesn't make sense to any of us. Louisville fans in the same boat as us, and really, I mean, Jason Bean is, he's gotten snaps. Mike DeLello's, I don't even think he started a game in DC. I could be wrong.
He did last year in like that final game.
In that Week 10 game.
Yeah, he hasn't.
That didn't really, that Week 10 game, that didn't really matter because the team was already in the playoffs. No, my thing is, I open up, like, you could go up in the comment section on Instagram and see, a lot of comments. And the number one comment I saw was for NFL comparison. So it'd be like Dak Prescott getting traded for Zach Wilson. It's exactly what it's like. So I'd seen that. I was like, oh, that's fair. I wouldn't say it's accurate enough, but it's fair. It's a fair way. It just doesn't make sense, to be honest. It doesn't make sense because there are better quarterbacks out there, and Mike DeLeo is not even proven. Like there's no, and not even that. If you also see everything, there's 4 teams with 1 win right now. So the league is still very, very close. So it just doesn't make sense.
If anything, I'm honestly surprised that the Battlehawks didn't try to make a trade for a quarterback. Because I mean, like, I still think personally, Harrison Frost hasn't proved anything that he's truly a starter just yet. I feel like I honestly thought that Ricky Pearl would try to go for someone like, I don't know, Jason Bean or I think there's another name I thought about. Like, I don't know. They're just one of those teams that, of course they're gonna want to keep the fans around, figure it out. Of course, try to give DC a little bit of pressure.
Yeah, it's again, it's one of those things where it really just shocked all of us. And now I'm not even shocked. It's just there's not much of an explanation. It's one of those things where Ralph said the league has been very close. I don't see, I don't even think there was a need for these teams. I mean, sure, for some of these teams, there was a need to make a trade for a quarterback, but some of the names we saw were just it was like a little ill-timed and not, the names were just didn't really click with us as starting quarterbacks. And for Louisville, now Chandler Rogers is a starting quarterback, which, in my opinion, I mean, if you put him and Bean side by side, I really don't think it's. I think it's that corporate has the same picture meme, right? So I don't.
Hey, Jason Bean's actually like really good at throwing the football. He's really good. Like Jason Bean's like actually really good.
Yeah. I mean, that's why it's more puzzling because I think he was doing fine. Maybe it was a coaching decision.
Yeah, because they're losing really close games. Like just like Columbus, they're losing very close games.
Yeah. I mean, we'll see. Louisville, we'll see what they have in store this week. We'll see if it continues to be the fault of the quarterback or if the other position groups. I think the other position groups for Louisville are doing well, but now it's just a matter of can the quarterback play take them to that DC, that Houston, or that Dallas, that Orlando level, right? So again, we'll find out, but it should be another good week. So, all right, and then Matt Corral to Orlando, and Matt Corral and Amani Bledsoe, the edge rusher for DTR, Dorian Thompson-Robinson. This one makes a little more sense. Again, Matt Corral struggling here on the Stallions, so they deal him away. And they try to win their hand with DTR. Again, hasn't started this year yet, has gotten in some action, but hoping that at least fans are hoping. I don't know if Diego and the Stallions community is hoping, but hoping for DTR to start this weekend against DC. But what are you guys' thoughts on this one? Did this one kind of make a little more sense to you, or was it a little more the same, or what do you guys think?
Speaks.
I mean, I can't say I was surprised when I first saw it because I feel like Matt Corral was on the hot seat for a while. And I'm not gonna lie, I did kind of want DTR in those first 2 weeks. But I mean, I don't think it's a bad move. I'm not really sure as to why we decided to trade Bledsoe. I think that's how you say his name. I mean, yeah. But you know, I'm just surprised that that Jason Bean is going to be a backup in DC when honestly he should still be a starter. I mean, I guess Chris Redmond probably just saw a lot of inconsistencies as to overthrowing the ball or just not really looking consistent each week, which that I can understand, but still, that's still a lot of talent that's just going to go to waste now unless Tomu just suddenly just doesn't play well. But I think the biggest question now is who's going to start in Birmingham. I mean, I did think at first that DTR probably will start, but at the same time, I would not be surprised if Michael Hires ends up at least playing maybe the first quarter just because he has more reps. Yeah. But I don't know. But I mean, I do like the move just because it gives us a little bit of mobility. It's just going to land more on if Agent McCarron will actually have good play calling.
Yeah.
I like this move by Birmingham. You know, Birmingham, like I said earlier, is just so good in spring football, and to be at a 1-3 record just seems so weird. So, you know, a midseason change, you know, just trying to do anything to just switch it up, finish out the season strong. You know, like Raph said, there's no one eliminated from the playoffs whatsoever. Yeah. Like anyone can do this right now, and you know, if they can turn this around, they got a 3-week stretch that's pretty rough. They got DC, then they play at Orlando, then they play against Dallas. You know, if they can get those 3 big wins, get a good resume, and then they finish out the year with a doubleheader against Columbus and versus Houston. So I like this trade. I think a good switch up for the Stallions is definitely what they need. Definitely can't just keep doing the same thing, throwing it at the wall and seeing if it sticks. So I'm interested to see who will start for Birmingham this week and if they can turn it around and get back on top of spring football.
You know, I was going to say, I would have liked them to roll with Tyler Elzema for a week, but they can't roll with them.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like I was looking for a while. I was looking forward to seeing him play, but it was the whole visa issues that just prevented him. And for those who don't know, he ended up just going back to the CFL. So hopefully he does well.
But isn't Donovan Smith still on the Stallions roster or no?
No, I don't think
I believe so. I've seen his name on the depth chart. So he'll probably just be the emergency quarterback.
Yeah, because I feel like he can play if need be. You know, if need be, he could play.
Yeah. So, I mean, listen, all interesting points. We did talk about on the show, and we have talked about now for the last couple of weeks, how Louisville's run game has been really lackluster, and we saw a couple moves to try and combat that this week, including Benny Snell being cut, a couple Kentucky faithful, big blue faithful, not happy about that. And then we saw some starting offensive linemen also cut for Louisville. That one also a little bit of a shock to some people. Why cut, 2 starting offensive linemen, 4 weeks into the season? But again, coaching staff, needs to make adjustments. But we always thought that the Louisville run game was more of an issue than the pass game. But again, Jason Bean traded away yesterday, so it looks like they're trying to solve that too. Just a lot of the offense going kind of upside down for Louisville, and so they're trying to make changes however possible. But so far, they've, we're gonna have to see if it works. So there are a lot of new faces going to be on that offense and the team here going into the last 5 weeks of the season. So last weeks of the season.
Yeah, it's crazy because I've seen this same story play out and a team win a championship like this. The The Renegades did the exact same thing back in 23.
Yeah.
Made midseason transactions, traded some people, got Perez on the roster, and it didn't look like it was working till like the last week of the season. They got it together and they just kept winning. So
Yeah.
I don't know. Well, we just have to find out. We just have to find out.
Yeah, it should be a good 5 weeks. Raf, you kind of said how this is a different league than in past years. Yeah, and you are. We're hoping that you follow it like your other leagues, but obviously we know you're busy and all that stuff. So we have no. We're not gonna hound on you if you don't follow it in that regard. But at the same time, it's been exciting just in a little different ways, right? Some stuff we've never seen before. I mean, Mike Rapoli has really done a much different job. Some people say that his decision making is questionable in terms of ownership, changes. But that's also another thing. I don't think we mentioned it last week, but Dallas will be playing at Fort Hood later on in the season. Yeah. I don't know if you guys saw that. That should be interesting. So I will I'll pull that up because it is let's see here. You guys remember when that was?
That was last week actually. Last week.
Oh, here we go. I got it. Yeah. So no, it's in week 8. So week 8, Friday, May 15th at 8 p.m. Eastern. Orlando against Dallas at Phantom Warrior Stadium in Fort Hood.
Here, I saw that.
What an elite name.
Yeah, that is an elite name. And we saw a picture of Fort Hood, right, on Instagram, if any of you guys saw that. And so, JT, that's one of those things. Like, you could easily go to that. I mean, if you were closer from where you're at right now.
Ooh, there's a key detail about that. This game will not be available to the general public to the general public. They made it to where it's first come, first serve for the service members on base. So unless you're related to someone or if you're in the military, you can't go. So technically, this game against the Kings on Sunday, that's basically the official final home game. While that other game is just for the military.
Maybe the playoffs. I don't know. The way they're playing, they might be in the playoffs. So probably.
Yeah. So they're playing at Fort Hood because the stadium is being used for something else during week 8. So they are playing at an alternate location that has drawn some attention across the spring football community and others. All right, guys, we'll go ahead and move on to our next topic.
Wait. What's the Fort Hood attendance? What's the Fort Hood
capacity?
5,000.
5,000 people. So I think they could have. Yeah, I think they could have 5,000. Like a packed out crowd. So I mean, like
you know what I am interested to see.
They would be beating Houston in attendance, believe it or not.
Move Houston to Fort Hood.
Yeah, they would. It's true. No. Actually, they would beat themselves in attendance because they're doing pretty bad, actually.
Yeah. No, but here's what I wanted to say. Something that's going to be interesting is the press box setups for these coaches at Fort Hood. I'm sure there's something. Louisville actually is another one of those stadiums that also has an interesting press box setup for the coaches. It's like an open tent setup. If you guys ever see the coaches when it's shown on the broadcast. And so I'm interested to see how that's going to look. I don't know. Again, I'm really every stadium, every football field has some sort of press box setup. So I wouldn't be shocked if they have something current, but I don't know what it's going to look like in terms of camera, right? Like if they're, hopefully that's a sign for them to crack down on interviews. Although because it is Fox, we don't typically get as much interviews on Fox broadcast that we do on ESPN. And actually ESPN has started to cut down on those. I think they have done a better job focusing in on the game as opposed to wanting more access, which is actually something the league wants to strive for. But at the same time, a lot of people are invested in the game and very much so. So, all right. So get on to the next topic. The Columbus Aviators, we kind of talked about this. They knock off the undefeated Dallas Renegades 28-14, the first win of their season. Guys, the Aviators were searching for their first win. They come off a week where their head coach had a DUI. They had an acting head coach in Todd Haley, who myself wanted him to potentially take the head coaching position. Not like that, Ralph. Like, I know you're giving me that look, but I'm saying that he has the experience.
He has the experience, but if you guys don't remember, he did not do a good job in the USFL. Okay.
Yeah, that's right.
He did not do a good job. Don't be honest. I'm gonna keep it a buck.
That's a fair point. But I think so. Ted Ginn comes back. They win it, and a dominant performance on the ground, and that's what Columbus Aviators fans were waiting for. They get the win at home. Myself and Raf have Columbus winning this week against the Gamblers.
Yeah. I do as well.
Okay,
Yeah.
JT has them as well.
The floor has Columbus.
Yeah, okay. So again, what did you guys think of that game? Did you guys have anything? I know it was just one-sided, something we did not expect. And actually, for anybody wondering, I don't think none of us chose Columbus, but I was saying to myself, if it was for my team to win, then I would take a missed pick. And actually, Raf getting a little closer in the rankings, and then myself and AJ only one game behind Diego after he chose Birmingham, and which took him back. So, but yeah, did you guys have anything on that game?
Well, I mean, I'll watch the first half of the game. Wasn't able to watch the second half, but like Columbus couldn't stop Arlington. They could not stop Arlington in the first half. I was surprised that in the second half, like Columbus figured it out or put it together.
Yeah,
but they could not stop Arlington. I was very surprised.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would personally love to see this be a big turnaround for Columbus. I really like what they build. And when we say like Columbus is such a bad team and you look at like their previous games, they only had that one bad game against Dallas in week 2. The other 2 games were decided by one score. So
there was that DC game was actually really rough. It was a very
that game. DC game was a very, very bad game. They lost 44-26. But like the other 2 games against a very good Dallas team, a very good Orlando team, they just barely lose those. So they have an interesting schedule going forward. They play Birmingham twice, Louisville to end the season. They play Houston twice after this, and then St. Louis. So I don't count Columbus out. I actually think Columbus has a very good shot at sneaking in the playoffs this year. I know it's a little early to say that because we're only halfway through the season, but Columbus has played pretty well given what they've done. All you need is to have your coach get a DUI and you start winning. That's it. That's
all you need. Yeah. Diego, did you have anything? I know the Aviators. One of us picked them, and so yeah.
Yeah. No. I mean, I think this game overall and the week before, I thought it has been the Aviators' best games they've played this season. No, I to counter off what JT said, I definitely do think that they have a shot at making the playoffs. It's one of the reasons why I actually chose them for the first time this season in my picks to win next week. I feel like they just got a lot of momentum going. This is Ted Ginn's first ever career win as a head coach. And the future is bright for them. They just gotta see if they're able to respond.
And they really was a good collective win. And I did mention the quarterback play was what it was, and McClendon wasn't forced into those tough situations. The run game was ultimately what propelled them to victory. The defense also played really good. I thought Cam Smith, former Miami Dolphins second-round pick, which is also reminds me of the NFL draft approaching in a few days. Cam Smith really did a good job, held his own against Tyler Vaughn's, the leading receiver in the UFL, I believe so. I think the stats shifted and changed a little bit here, but I think he should still be leading. It would make sense if he would, because he really built a lot. He really stacked a lot of good games on top of each other in the early going of the season. So it wouldn't surprise me, but I thought Cam Smith held his own. He's had a rough season, just watching some of his plays. He's been called on a couple penalties. So it's good to see him turn it around here against get a much needed win against Dallas, because, that was a tough matchup. If you told me the night before that he was going to win that matchup, I'd probably not believe you. So it was good to see him really take on that challenge, and hoping that he strings a couple good games together. So, all right. So we'll move on here. So the Stallions cut Perry and Winfrey. And so we did find out that Stallions were planning to do that. Okay. So it wasn't ill-advised. It wasn't Perry and Winfrey just saying goodbye, right? It did seem like that, but then we got later confirmation from XFL analysts that the teams were in mutual agreements to part ways. So did you guys have anything about this? Obviously, not a good look, because he did mention the staff of Birmingham being an issue, at least to him personally, right? We're not going to say if it's something that bugs the entire team. However, that's what he thought, and both teams were agreed to move forward. And did you guys have anything on that? I know it was kind of amidst all the trade news, so it was a lot to kind of unpack there in a couple hours. But did you guys have anything? I know it's a pretty small one of our topics, but I thought it was one of those things where it's like, it happens,
I feel like when it comes to the Stallions, a lot of people try to look at more on the offense, or how Matt Corral is playing, which I feel like I'm in that majority that hasn't really paid attention to the defense all that much, just because, or if I do, I just look at the secondary and just see how bad we've just given up so many plays. I mean, it was honestly a miracle we were even able to beat Louisville week 1, with how close that game was. But I was surprised by this, because those first reports that said that he left, I'm like, what the fuck? What is going on? But I'm interested as to why AJ McCarron and co decided to get rid of him. I mean, was he really that bad? He only played 1 or 2 games, which it's just begs the question: was he really that bad?
Yeah. It's again, it's a very small one of our topics, probably one of the lesser important ones, but it's one of those things that should still be addressed, because you have to, you have to feel for the player. The player, I mean, Perry and Winfrey just wasn't, didn't really think highly of the staff, and so made the decision to move forward. Said he will work out at home now and has his own plan. So should be interesting to see how he carries that out. And listen, we don't here at any spring football page will not judge anybody's journey, right? Everybody's journey is completely different, and it's all about how you make it and when you make it. So all right, so we'll move on here. Former players upset on Twitter. Specifically, Jamar. Actually, Diego, I saw you add that in, and I wasn't too familiar. You might have to brush me up on that. I'm not too.
Yeah. So to really just give a bit of an overview. So basically, after that Stallions game on Saturday, there's kind of been somewhat of a surge from former USFL players just kind of breaking their silence on a lot of these notable names like Jamar Smith that haven't been able to play in the league or be signed, because there are reports that there are teams interested, but they're just, for whatever reason, they're just being blacklisted for a strange reason, which in my theory is that because these guys were such notable names and were playing spring football for such a long time, I don't know if it's maybe they would rather give younger guys a chance, or it's another factor that we just don't know about. But there's still guys like Ricky Person that just want to play, which I'm in that majority that I would absolutely love to see him play, which is how bad the run game has been on certain teams. But yeah, no, that's
Mhm.
it.
I don't know. I don't know why they just don't play in Canada. I'll be honest. I don't know why they don't play football in Canada because
Yeah.
I might be a lot better for them. I don't know.
Especially since now Canada, they just changed to American rules instead of Canadian rules. So just be another level.
Yeah, it's also another reason why I don't like the CFL, to be honest. Like, I had a hard time because the 3 downs, like it threw me off.
I still struggle with watching the CFL to this day. I don't.
It's
I
the 3
don't.
downs. It's
No,
3 downs.
no. That, and if a kicker misses and hits the end zone, it counts as a point, which I found completely idiotic.
I love the CFL, but that's just me.
I like the CFL too. I just can't get behind 3 downs. It throws me off.
Yeah. I mean, listen, we try to talk about other leagues, and CFL has a big intersection with UFL. We see a lot of former players go there. We see rules being implemented, like JT said, whether that's them from us from them, or from a different sort of league, or so it's one of those things where it comes up on our channel, it comes up on our videos, but when we talk about it, we kind of just stop at a certain point. But it's good to see that you guys enjoy it to an extent, and so yeah, we will definitely we'll see if we can add that kind of in our topics. We'll see if obviously like we said, we've had players go on to the league in the CFL, so it's definitely one of those things. I mean, we have it on our new flyer for this year, so it's one of the leagues that we briefly talk about, but we definitely get into it a good amount for it to be mentioned. So all right, we're going to get into our predictions now. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen for week 5. Oh, yeah, week 5. Crazy how we're already reached the halfway point. Here we go. I'm going to share my screen for you guys. And, yeah, so everybody should know who they want or who they wanted to pick. But essentially, this is who we're going to do. Diego, I wasn't planning on showing the picks. We have time. Until the next game. It's just last week we had a little bit tight of a turnaround with
I can make a reference of what AJ picked as well, just to still share that.
Okay, yeah. So we'll get into AJ's as well. Thank you for reminding me. Did any of you guys want to kick us off here?
Yeah, I'll kick this one off because Friday night lights. We like our Friday football, which I mean, yeah. I'm a fan of it. I'm a fan of having games on a Friday night.
Yeah.
Especially after they had 18,000 fans this last week. I don't think they'll have half as much this next week, to be honest. But they're up against DC. I think they'll find a way to win. I'll be honest. If you haven't known, the quarterback who's thrown the ball the least this year, who started all 4 games, has been Jordan Teamu. And they're gonna have to make him throw because that secondary is not good. But I think Birmingham is gonna find some way to win.
Okay. Oh, you think Birmingham's gonna win? That's right.
Yeah, I think they're gonna, because Teamu has not thrown the ball a lot this year. He doesn't like last year. He was throwing the ball hella. This year he's thrown it only 90 times over 4 games.
Yeah, and I think Birmingham's run defense is also good. So you make a good point how they're gonna force Teamu to throw a little bit more than he's potentially expected to, or that he has.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, what did you have? If you go ahead, I mean, do you want to get into all the games?
Oh, sure. I guess the Storm win because they're 4-0, so they will move on to 5-0. Okay. And then the Aviators win because the Gamblers aren't really good. Okay. That win against Birmingham was, I think, it was more of a Nolan Henderson just showing out, just playing good football.
Just completely shitting ourselves.
Yeah, but Henderson actually played good though. Like that's the thing. Henderson played good football. And then the Toyota Stadium season finale, Dallas Renegades versus the Louisville Kings. I think the Renegades win that game because Chandler, I think Chandler Rogers might be kind of decent. He might be kind of I think he might be better running the football.
Yeah.
But Dallas is too balanced on both sides of the ball.
And we see something that Diego is not a fan of this week, the 11 a.m. start time on Sunday. The dreaded 11 a.m. start time. In Houston, you couldn't have chosen a worse combination.
I think there'll be 3,000 fans at the most, to be honest. 3K.
3,000? I think there'll be more like
900.
I said at the most. At the most. 3,000, bro. At the most.
No, yeah. And so I didn't mean to bring it up like that, but I think it's relevant, right? I just don't think, I mean, the 11 a.m. start times, we talked about this last week and 2 weeks ago, have never been favorable, have never brought large crowds, have just, you could have chosen, I mean, even if you chose Dallas, it could have been a little bit better.
But 5,000.
Yeah, right. But the fact you chose Houston kind of eliminates any thought of it drawing like a decent sized crowd. Yeah, I mean, I don't think that's even in the cards. But again, we'll have to see. I'm hoping every game has a fairly decent crowd. So, all right, Diego, JT, did either one of you guys want to get into?
I'll go. So starting off DC and Birmingham, I choose DC in this one. Like we said, Birmingham made a lot of changes, and I'd like to give them some time to implement those and make those work. I think DC's a really good team. Like I said, I think they proved themselves last week against St. Louis. So I think they're going to take this one in Birmingham. St. Louis and Orlando. Give me St. Louis because of one, I'm a St. Louis fan and I'll always pick them. But also, I think it's time for Orlando to get exposed. Play the bottom feeders of the league, and then you play St. Louis. Even though it's at home. Now, if this was a flip and they played at St. Louis, I would be 100% in on St. Louis. But since it's at Orlando, I think it's a little more even playing field here. So I'd like to see St. Louis win this one. Columbus and Houston, don't like the start time, do like the matchup. I'm choosing Columbus in this one. Houston just has been very disappointing to me this year. And then Louisville and Dallas, I don't see any reason that Dallas should struggle with Louisville at all. I think this is going to be a cakewalk for Dallas, get their redemption, and just go back to being on top of the league.
Yeah, and not to mention that something that is worth noting, Dallas has had some tight turnarounds in the last couple weeks. 3 games in 11 days. Something Rick Neuheisel said on the sideline to his guys, trying to amp them up. I unfortunately wasn't able to because they ended up losing and conceding a lot of yards, etc. So, they wait till the last game this week. So it should be interesting to see. Hopefully, for Dallas's case, they're a little more rejuvenated and ready to go. But yeah, no, it should be a pretty good weekend, all things considered. So I'm really excited. Diego, did you want to go, or if not, if I can go?
Oh, I can go. All right. To start it off, DC at Birmingham. I think you could tell on my face that I am not confident about this one.
Okay.
I'm not picking Birmingham in this one just because I feel like the pieces aren't all there. I don't know who's actually gonna be starting at quarterback, and I'm not really high on McCarron right now. Bring back Skip. But I just feel like the DC Defenders are a more polished team. I wouldn't be surprised if we just play like absolute crap in that first half. Going into that next one, the Battlehawks and the Storm. I got Orlando winning this one. I feel like St. Louis is still trying to find the answers at quarterback. I do think this one's going to be close. Maybe this could be another overtime game, but I do think that Orlando has played pretty well, and they're just want to keep going about things. And then the infamous 11 a.m. one. I got the Aviators winning this one. Like I said, first time I'm picking Ferris's team.
Robson too.
Yeah.
Robson.
I do think the Aviators will look pretty good in this one. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if Talia keeps it close, but no, I think just the Aviators just are gonna want to keep pounding at this thing. And then the Kings and the Renegades. I got the Dallas Renegades winning this one. Though before being got traded, I actually thought the Louisville Kings might be able to get an upset, but after that trade, I'm not so confident. I mean, it could still happen, but we still have yet to see Chandler Rogers actually play a full game. So
Yeah.
who knows for sure? And then it's also going to be interesting to see how that offensive line looks after all those moves that just took place.
Yeah.
You know what chant we have for the flight? The Columbus Aviators. You know what our chant is?
Well, you never added me. What is this
my fault.
chat?
No. Our chant. CHANT. Chant.
Aviator, right?
No. It's Flight Nation stand up.
Oh my God!
That's gold.
You had to do that. Look at JT. Yeah. That's great. That's great.
That's what we call it.
Oh my gosh.
Flight team. Columbus
Oh my
Aviators.
God. Okay, you know what? I like the creativity, Ruff. Even if you came up with that on the spot,
that's Flight Reacts.
I know it's Flight Reacts, but I'm saying like connecting it to
That
the
was
team.
not on the spot. I've been saying that all season.
Okay, all right. Well, there you have it, Ruff. Big Flight fan, big Aviators fan, wanting Aviators Nation to implement that in their home banter and so their home crowd remarks, and so yeah, I'm a fan of that.
Once we get Ducky on the podcast, him and Rolf can talk all about it.
Oh man, that's the dream.
Ducky's a little bit older, so I don't know how much he knows about flight. I'm not saying.
I'm pretty sure he knows a lot, but
he probably knows a good amount. But
that's the dream episode for me. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So yeah, interesting picks. We had Rolf come on and give a little flight team stand up nation. So we'd love to hear that. All right, I'm gonna go ahead get into my picks. So DC playing Birmingham. I have DC winning. I think Birmingham needs to figure it out. They've made a couple moves to try and do that, but like JT said, it's going to take a couple weeks for that really to show on the field. So give me DC for this for that Friday game, and then for this next one, I have Orlando winning. Sorry, JT. No hard feelings. I promise. Don't take it as personal in the group chat this week at all. I just think they're the better team. I think St. Louis is going to play very well. Orlando could potentially or will come out with this one. I think it's going to look a little sloppy in the beginning, but I think they will figure it out. I think, Plummer, we'll see what he has. Again, Matt Corral also heading into a new coaching staff with Anthony Beck. We'll see if that ever becomes something that we see, if Matt Corral ever takes the field this season. And then for the next one, I have Columbus coming out on top. I think their run game looked really good, and now they get to play Houston, who has struggled against the run game in the last couple of weeks. Obviously, they just played Louisville, and Louisville has not had a very good run game. So expect to see a lot of that same run attack that they had last week for Columbus, and really try to take the next step forward in terms of the run game. So Columbus in that one. And then for the final game, I have Dallas winning. I just think Louisville needs to still figure out some things. The quarterback room has some questions unanswered. I think Dallas has, a more complete team. I think they were on a tight turnaround. They didn't look that good against Columbus, but overall, I think they're going to come away with this one, being the last game of the weekend. So they're motivated to start the next week off with a win. So, all right. So I'm going to go ahead, stop sharing our screen here, and we'll get back.
And then,
yeah.
Just really quick, I'm going to share. It's all good.
Okay.
All right. So for that first game on Friday, he has the Defenders winning that one. And then on Saturday night, he's got Orlando in that one. Sorry, JT. It's a huge disappointment. And then shocker. This might be the biggest, hot take prediction of the podcast. He has the Houston Gamblers.
Oh my! I just saw that.
Wow.
Yeah. You know what? Listen, it's not the most. We saw Bryant a couple weeks ago pick. What was it? Hold on.
He picked the Gamblers to win. The DC Defenders won.
Oh my God! He picked the Gamblers to win over the Defenders. Like that's more eyeballing.
That was that blowout game, like that really bad game.
The largest win in UFL history.
Yeah. So okay, I don't mind his Houston pick, but go ahead, Diego, if you want to.
And then after that, he has the Renegades winning that one against Louisville, which shockingly enough, that's our only sweep for this week in picks. We all have the Renegades winning.
Yeah. And if you look, like I was just going to get into that. So the picks this week, only sweep is Louisville versus Dallas in favor of Dallas. And then Columbus versus Houston, four of us on here at least have the Columbus. And then AJ has Houston. And then all of us on here, or no, excuse me, JT has the Battlehawks. And then AJ and then Raf and I and Diego have Orlando. And then Raf has Birmingham. And then
I think they'll find some way to win.
Okay, no,
they typically do. They haven't these past few weeks. I don't know why, but they typically find a way to win. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, last week we had 3 sweeps, just with the 4 of us, myself, Raf, Diego, and AJ. But then the one game was the one exception was Diego picking Birmingham to beat Orlando. So again, didn't work out. But again, the picks, the rankings barely shifted because it was one answer or the other. It was one team or the other, so it didn't really change much in the rankings. But just a little update. So Diego still leads at 11-5. AJ and myself just trailing a game behind. We were 2 games behind a little while ago at 10-6, and then Raf falling behind a little bit, 8-8. Yeah,
I'm a little bit behind, but we'll catch up. Birmingham will get me there.
Okay, yeah, we've seen you pick some underdogs, upsets, whatever you want to call it, right? And I think it's worked out in your favor once. I think so. I think I forgot. Yeah, it might have been 2 weeks ago, but just because last week we had the majority sweep. So, all right, so those are our predictions for week 5. Guys, did you have any closing thoughts here ahead of week 5? Anything to add?
Not this week.
Not this week. Did you have any? I don't know. Do you want to see anything different? Do you think the crowds are going to look the same? Do you think?
Probably.
Okay.
Probably
not in Birmingham.
Not in Birmingham. Okay. Yeah.
I think they'll pack 9,000. I think 9,000 sounds pretty good in Birmingham.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd say that's probably what we'll hit. But
that's
I'm just more interested is how this energy is going to carry the rest of the season, just depending on how we play.
I think this week is a good week to just, answer a lot of questions, right? We've had these types of weeks, but it's more been around the externals of the league in terms of okay, how are the crowds going to look? How many seats are going to be filled? Those types of questions. But now we're getting into the deep season and to where we need the football questions answered, right? So it's good. It's good now that we're moving into this phase because I'd love to see what these teams have, right? If you're 1-3 right now, right, and 1-4 is a tough spot to climb back from, right? So it's that week 5 is a good evaluation point for a lot of these teams, right? What have we done in these first 5 weeks that have allowed us to win, have made us lose, right? So it's going to be interesting to see how these teams go about their week 5 and beyond. But again, it's one of those weeks where we don't have much to say because we're just waiting for the football. We're that much more eager to see how these games are gonna shape out. So, all right. So one final shout out, JT. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. JT will have his week 5 picks video out sometime later this week. So stay tuned for that on his page. But he just gave you guys like Diego, us at Spring Into Football do. We give you a sneak peek of what our picks are. So JT did the same for his sake. So JT, thank you so much for joining. Raf, thank you for coming on. You've been busy.
Be here a little bit more. Don't worry. I'll be back.
Right. We'll try to get those features on. I know we have a couple lined up. JT, we'll always you'll always be welcome to join us as well if we ever need if we ever just need someone to talk football with us, or if someone's not able to come on, if maybe we want to have a double feature. There's a lot of different things we can do. But yeah, thank you guys, everybody, for joining. We appreciate all of your back end efforts, whether that's graphics and analysis, sending in your picks, etc. And yeah, enjoy another great week of football. And we'll have this episode out most likely tomorrow. It is a little bit earlier than we usually end, so potentially could have it out tonight. I'd say around 9 p.m. Central Time is potentially when we could get it out. But yeah, thank you guys so much for joining, and yeah, enjoy another good week of football.
Have a good night.
Have a good night.
Guys.
Thanks, guys.